They say representation matters. But sometimes, it seems the only thing that truly matters is how far you're willing to bend to the ideology of the day. Sydney Sweeney didn't say a word. She didn't wave a flag. She didn't make a statement. She simply appeared blonde, white, smiling, in a patriotic-themed American Eagle ad wearing a denim crop top and a cowboy hat. And just like that, all hell broke loose online. Why? Because, apparently, existing while white and attractive in 2025 is now a political statement. The backlash wasn't subtle. Social media exploded. Accusations flew fast. She's promoting white nationalism. This is dog whistle fascism. How dare American Eagle glorify whiteness? Think about that for a second. A denim ad, a white girl in a hat, and suddenly it's the next front in the culture war. But this isn't really about Sydney Sweeney. It never was. This is about a culture that's reached the point where whiteness by itself is considered offensive. When did patriotism become controversial? When did the image of a smiling, blue-eyed American girl in red, white, and blue become problematic? The same people who scream diversity seem to have no room for Sydney. Not because of what she said, not because of what she did, but because she exists and doesn't apologize for it. And here's the kicker. The ad wasn't political. It wasn't some right-wing campaign. It was jeans and summer and country music vibes. Nostalgic, maybe. Americana, sure. But not a manifesto. Yet the woke mob reacted like Sydney had personally rewritten the Constitution to outlaw diversity. They called it coded, insensitive, and tone-deaf. But all it really was simple, beautiful, traditional, and that today is the real threat. Let's be honest. The attack on Sydney is part of a broader trend. A slow erosion of cultural confidence. An inversion of values. We're told that celebrating any tradition that doesn't fit the new progressive orthodoxy is dangerous. That if you're white and you're not actively flagellating yourself for it, you must be part of the problem. That beauty, if it's not inclusive enough, must be redefined or erased. Sydney didn't apologize. She didn't issue a Notes app statement. And that silence, ironically, made the mob even angrier. Because the woke economy thrives on groveling. They want confessions. They want kneeling. They want tears and hashtags and public shaming. But when you just stand there and smile, unapologetic, that's the ultimate act of rebellion. Remember, this isn't new. They tried the same thing with Chris Pratt, with Taylor Swift, with anyone who doesn't speak the language of progressive guilt fluently enough. They sniff around for old tweets, vague associations, family members who voted the wrong way. And then they pounce. The moment you slip, or worse, don't, they'll come for you. But here's what they fear most. People like Sydney who don't play along. And where was American Eagle in all this? Silent. They didn't drop her. They didn't distance themselves. And maybe, just maybe, they realized something most corporations have forgotten. The majority of Americans aren't on board with the progressive purge. They're tired of being told they're bad people for liking denim, flags, and girls who look like Sydney Sweeney. They want sanity back. And maybe, finally, brands are starting to notice. But the outrage industry won't stop here. The goalpost will move again. Tomorrow, it'll be too much eye contact. Next week, the shade of lipstick. Then it'll be body types, eye color, speech patterns. The obsession isn't with equality. It's with control. And Sydney? She broke the illusion by simply existing without shame. Here's a brutal truth. Inclusion today doesn't mean everyone is welcome. It means only those who conform are welcome. And that's not diversity. That's ideological segregation. We're seeing a quiet cultural cleansing. Not of race, but of values, of appearances, of aesthetics. If you're not the right kind of representation, you don't belong. And Sydney Sweeney just walked straight into that firestorm. But here's the twist. It backfired. The mob came with their usual pitchforks and hashtags, but the average person saw something different. They saw a young woman embodying confidence, tradition, beauty, and America, without apology. And they liked it. Millions watched the ad. It went viral, not because it was controversial, but because people are starved for normal. In a world drunk on outrage, Sydney Sweeney reminded us what sobriety looks like. That you can still be joyful, patriotic, feminine. That you can wear a cowboy hat and not be a political threat. That you can be white without being a villain. That you can exist without explanation. This wasn't about exclusion. It was about balance. About reminding America that it's okay to remember who we are and who we were. That red, white, and blue still means something. That not every face needs to be curated by an algorithm to fit a box on a DEI spreadsheet. That tradition isn't a crime. And that maybe, just maybe, the silent majority is done being silent. So here's the question. Are we really going to let them cancel people for looking like Sydney Sweeney? Are we going to keep handing over our culture to the loudest, angriest voices in the room? Or are we finally ready to say no, to step out of the algorithm, out of the script, out of the shame, and stand for something real again? At Truthery, we don't just tell you what's trending. We decode the deeper war behind the headlines, because this isn't just about one actress. It's about the fight for America's cultural soul. If you're tired of the noise and ready for clarity, you're in the right place. Subscribe now. Join the rebellion against the narrative. Because at Truthery, every truth is a story, and this one's just getting started. By the way, did you like the ad?